Okay, good morning. So we are in the middle of the story of Gidon, excuse me. Three chapters in total, and then another two chapters about his son. We are towards the end of chapter 7, verse 15. So what we saw was that the main problem was lack of faith, of confidence that Hashem will really help us. So it was required, there were required three different sets of proofs for Gidon, or even four, that Hashem was with him, is with him. First of all, the first angel that came and spoke with him. After that, he asked for a miracle of the dew twice, right? After that, Hashem told him, okay, from my side, I don't want so many people with you, so it won't be clear that the miracle that I was the one who won this war. So from 32,000 soldiers, he stayed with only 300 against 135,000. Right? Not very good chances. So Hashem did this part, but after that, still it looks, even though Gidon didn't say anything, it looked like he was afraid, because Hashem told him, "Don't be afraid, and if you are still afraid, go to the camp of Midian, and I will show you something." So he went to the camp of Midian. He heard these two soldiers speaking about a dream, and he heard the dream and also the interpretation of the dream by the other soldiers, and then he was sure, right? Only after that he said, well, I can go forward to the war. And we are in verse 15, and it says, when Gidon heard the dream told and interpreted, I mean, he heard also the story of the dream, also the interpretation of the dream, he bowed low, meaning he thanks God for that. Then he has enough confidence. Returning to the camp of Israel, he shouted, "Come on, God has delivered the Midianite camp into your hands." So he is convinced and he's going out to the world. Now, this word is a perfect mix of miracle and natural. We always speak about these two aspects. What's happened? Is it a miracle or is it natural? And how much natural is it? So here we are going also again on this line. Like I said before, the numbers point out a total miracle, right? But there is also tactics here, and also a lot of sense in the way that Gidon is managed this battle. So let's see what he did, and then we'll try to explain it a bit more. So he divided the 300 men into three columns. Column? How do you read this word? Columns? Column. Into three columns, and he equipped them all with a ram's horn, shofarot, and empty jar, with a torch in each jar. So he has a shofar, and torch, and a jar. Three elements. What is missing? Sword. No, I mean, each of the 300 men got jar, torch.
Where are the weapons?
Where's the weapon, right? So where's the weapon? And what are they going to do with all those? Let's see. So he told them, watch me, he said, and do the same. Mimeni tir'u v'chen ta'asu. Like I told you, it's become like a slogan of the Israeli army. The commander say he doesn't send people to do things. He said you should see me and do like me. I will be the example for you. Okay, so you should see me, and that's what you should do. But not only that, he also explained, when I get to the outpost of the camp, do exactly as I do. What I will do, when I and all those with me blow our horns, you too, all around the camp, will blow your horns and shout for God and for Gidon. Okay, so they have, what do you think is the purpose of blowing the shofar? If you remember, we had the war of Jericho. There, the shofar was like, again, like something religious. They blow the shofar 7 times and the walls fall down. Is it something similar here?
No, I don't think so. I think what they're doing is when they have those lights and have the chauffeurs, I think each unit of men would have their own chauffeur to signal them when they would go forward, and the light for the leader it would be at night. In the old days, I know in the earlier days, they would carry flags,
Yeah.
and the commanders would see where the flags were moving.
So it was like signs.
Yes.
Signs to each other. Okay, let's see. Let's continue to see the story and then we try to expand a little bit. It says, Gideon and the 100 men with him arrived at the outpost of the camp at the beginning of the middle watch, just after the sentries were posted. Sentries meaning like shifts, right? Shifts of soldiers that keep the camp. They sounded the horns and smashed the jars that they had with them. And the column blew their horns and broke their jars, holding the torches in the left hands and the horns for blowing in the right hands. Again, no hand left for swords. They shouted, a sword for God and for Gideon. They remained standing where they were, surrounding the camp, but the entire camp ran about yelling and took to flight. And when when the 300 horns were sounded, God turned every man's sword against his fellow throughout the camp, and the entire host fled as far as Bet Shita, and on Zerera, as far as Zererata in Hebrew, as far as the outskirts of Abel Mechola, near Tabat. Okay, so this is the battle himself. We will explain a bit more the details. And then all the rest of the people joined. And now Israel's side from Naphtali and Asher and from all of Menashe rallied for the pursuit of the Midianim, etc. So we'll see the later part after. So let's try to explain. Usually, horns were in the hands of the leaders of the units. We can assume that one shofar was, like you said, for signs for around 100 people. Let's say, just say numbers. It can be 50, it can be 200, but it's not that everybody has in a battle a horn in his hand, right? You cannot fight like that. We say that the 300 that left, they took the horns from the 10,000 that, I mean, the 300 that stayed. They took the horns from the 10,000 who left. So there were in between 10,000 people, there was only 300 horns. So 300 horns may indicate 30,000 soldiers. If you said one horn for 100 people. And also torch, like you said, if it's for a sign, it's not every soldier hold a torch. It's a torch for, again, 100, 200, 1,000, right? It's only a sign. And when you are breaking jars, there's no natural voice. I mean, it's not something that is part of the natural part of the war. It sounds like hundreds of thousands, or I don't know, thousands of horses running together. So all the idea was to make the Midianim understand of things that there are tens of thousands of people attacking them at once from three different directions. Now, a question inside parentheses, why three directions? What about for the fourth one? We are usually four directions.
If you're attacking an enemy, there's two tactics. Either you're there to wipe them out completely, or you're to drive them out. If you're going to drive them out, you must leave the corridor open.
Yes, exactly. It's also said when you are, the halacha said that if you are sieging a city, you must leave one side open to let them run away. So it's not for human reasons, I mean for humanity or for human rights reasons. It's because you don't want them to be too desperate. You want them to believe they can run away, right? Because if they understand they have no place to run away, they're going to fight for their lives until the last bullets. But if they think they can run away, so there is an option. There is also a possibility that maybe it was only three directions because the fourth was some natural obstacle, or that the three were in such a way that it's closed all the 360 degrees, right? I mean, from not three direction east, west, north, but in a way that it closed everything. But I think that the most logical explanation is that it was in purpose that they left them one side to run away. Now, again, things all days. I can imagine that it wasn't a day of a night of full moon. It's more logical to say it was in the middle of in the beginning of the month, like when there's no light at all. And a total now again, it also said about the time when it came. It says where is it? ראש האשמורת התיכונה, the beginning of the middle watch. What does it mean, beginning of a watch? It's the times, I can tell you from my experience as a soldier. So you divide, in this case, you divide the night for three. So the first watch is the most wake, aware watch, right? You didn't go to sleep, you just stay another 3-4 hours to watch. What happened to the next watch? They already slept, but they didn't sleep enough. You are the first watch is in the end of each watch. It's already very tired. Usually you go to sleep at 10. Now it's already 2 o'clock. I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning. The first watch is very tired. The people already want to end their watch. The second watch didn't sleep enough. You have to wake up. I can tell you that to wake up the next watch is one of the hardest missions, right? Nobody wants to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to watch, right? To go to a shift. So and you think that, well, I'm going to be replaced and I will have still time to sleep. So you always take care that one eye will stay closed and one eye is open, right? You don't want to be totally awake. You just want to make your 2 hours or 3 hours of shifts and go back to sleep. And in the beginning of the watch, you're still really sleepy, right? So this is exactly the right time to attack. It's the most dangerous time is when there are change of shifts, when there's the change in the guards. Okay, so exactly in this sensitive time when everybody is tired, nobody really knows what's going on and what's happening. Suddenly they hear a sound, a noise of thousands of people because they broke the jars, and see suddenly hundreds of lights, which usually represent thousands or tens of thousands of soldiers, and hear the horns of 300 units. Well, there were 200 men, but he didn't know that, right? So they are sure that the enemy could surprise them, and nobody understands anything. And they're starting to run, and starting in the dark, you don't know who is on your side, who is in the other side, and people start to kill each other. This is a natural outcome of this smart attack, right? It can happen. And now also we can calculate another factors for that. They have camels. I don't know if you ever seen an angry camel or fear camel. Camel is a very strong animal and very crazy animal when you make her crazy, right? So camels running all around, beating people and biting people. And there are three different nations: Amalek, Bnei Kedem, and Midian. Everybody may suspect that the other one betrayed him, right? So again, in the middle of the night, when you don't know anything and there's so much noise and mess, it's a perfect storm, let's say. And then it can work very well. From the other side, it can also not work. It's enough that only one good commander will take responsibility and will start to organize his people. Again, a camp of tens of thousands of people, it's a very spread space, right? It's not in 2 meters. It should be kilometers of camp. So in the middle of the camp, some commander could take control of the situation and organize his soldiers. And again, it's enough one nation or one unit to defeat these 300 people. It's only 300 people. I mean, it's enough to have 2,000, 5,000 soldiers from the hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of people to make to understand what's happening and to react in the right direction. But it didn't happen. So again, is it a miracle or not a miracle? It's very well planned, and it's very well done and executed in the best way. But still, the chances to succeed totally, all this war are so low, so low. And when everything works exactly as planned in time of war, it's a miracle. Miracle is, I don't know how to say that in English. There is a famous sentence of one of the German famous commanders. It says that the war in Mamlechet Ha'ivadaut is a kingdom of uncertainty, or of not. Do you know this sentence? No? The kingdom of not knowing, of not being sure. So when everything working so perfectly with so low chances, this is a miracle. And something that's interesting here, what was the motto of Gidon? What he said, LeHashem ul Gidon. The things are states like a little bit vague, not clear, right? In the gray zone. It's still a little bit in the gray zone between miracle and not miracle. But now you should believe. You should understand that this was a miracle. That depends on you, right? Hashem didn't show you like the walls of Jericho falling down or the sea dividing, splitting for two. It was inside the nature, but in a way that you should be able to see that God was the one who won this battle. Okay, so anyways, this is about the battle of the night, and it was, like I said, a big success. And then it's continuing in the following day, right? What happened for the 300 people that started all of that? They must be very tired. They didn't sleep the whole night, right? And then they fought. Well, they started without a sword in their hands, but I guess they did take the sword after that and started to help a little bit this mess. And the Am Israel starts to be the one who pursues, who chasing the enemy. And they are running to, I can show you here, if the battle was around here, like I said before, they are running to here, to this place. Again, to the Yarden. The Midiani want to go back to the south, right? So they are going back here, and around this zone, in the middle of the land, they want to cross the Yarden and go back to the country. Now, we're talking about few hours of running. If they started in the middle of the night, they ran all the night, and they, oh, didn't. Yeah, they ran on the night and maybe some of the day, and they arrive to the Yarden, to the river. There is a problem when they can pass. If you remember in the war of Ehud ben Gera, also, Ehud ben Gera sent the people to the where they pass the river. This is exactly the point when you can catch all of them. Everybody run to this, and if you catch all of these places where there is a pass, you can destroy the enemy. So everybody ran there, and then is a moment when Gideon called the other tribes. Now you can join the battle. The 300 did the job. We saw that Hashem helped us. Now you can join. And then what does it say in verse 23? And now Israel's side from Naphtali and Asher and from all Menashe rallied and for the pursuit. How do you say this? Pursuit of the Midianim. Gideon also sent messengers all through the hill country of Ephraim with this order: go down head of Midianim and seize their access to the water all along the Yarden down to Bet Bara. So Ephraim entire continent rallied and seized the water side down to Bet Bara by the Jordan. So this was Gideon blocked the way back to the country. Why it was important? They're already run away. What's the problem? If they're going to run away, they're going to reorganize, and next year they're going to go back. You want to finish with that. So it was very important, not only the first victory, the first success, but to finish it until the end. We see the importance of that nowadays also. Not leave a war not clearly won. Clearly won. Israel defeated Hamas, I think, maybe 10 times in the last 20 years. But it was never until the end. Always there was like international pressure. You must stop, do that. You must make agreement with them. You cannot kill so many innocent people. Stop in the middle. And always from the stopping in the middle, the war is coming back. And who's suffering? Everybody's suffering, not only us. Also the Gaza people are suffering from that. The fact that we didn't finish that in the last time caused that this time much more people will die. And if we will not finish it right now, the next time it's going to be worse, right? For us and for them. So the right and human thing to do is to end wars, or wars, not leave things in the, you're not making agreements with Nazis, right? If it wasn't a total defeat of the German in the Second World War, if Hitler would have stayed in the as government, well, it would be another war after 5 or 10 years later, right? So also here, Gideon says, okay, we defeated this, we are victor, we had a victory in this battle, but we didn't finish the story, and we'll see that he go to chase them until the end. So he sends the people of Ephraim to the access to the water, meaning to cross the Yarden to the other side, and they did that all over the Yarden. So they pursued the Midianite and captured Midian 2 generals, Orev and Ze'ev. It's interesting, the names. I don't know what the meaning of that, but Orev is the bird, you know, the black bird that Raven. This is Orev. Ze'ev is a wolf. So one of the name was Raven, the Raven and the wolf. Right. So they caught them both, and so they killed Orev on the rock of Orev, and they killed Ze'ev at the wine press of Ze'ev. So what? It was a accident that they died in the place where they were caught. I mean, they had the same name as the place where they were killed. No, it was called after that, right? So it's the place was called on them, on where they were killed and caught and killed. So they caught to the 2 generals. As the generals are the supreme authority of a state, in normal state, no. So the fact that they caught the 2 generals doesn't mean that they finished the Midianim. We will see that it didn't finish yet. So, and they brought the heads of Orev and Zehev from the other side of the Yarden to Gideon. So it looks like they didn't only cut the place where they pass, they also went to the other side, because it says from the other side of the Yarden to Gideon. Right, so we can say that the first phase of the battle, or the second already, was finished, right? The first was in the battle itself, in the place where the camp was, and then the chase until the Yarden and beyond. So this is the first one. And now we have a very strange, so we finished chapter 7, but here the division to chapters, it's not very clear. It just, the story just continues, and it's not stop. If you see the Hebrew division, it doesn't make any stop here. It just continues. Anyway, it says, and those in Ephraim contingent. What does it mean, contingent? The people of Ephraim? So it says here, Ish Ephraim, the people of Ephraim. So those from Ephraim, for the people of Ephraim, said to him, to Gideon, why did you do that to us, not calling us when you went to fight the Midianim? And rebuked him severely. So we have a complaint here from the side of Ephraim, why didn't you call us? Why did you go alone? So this is, and not only they are complaining, it said here, it uses the word, Vayerivun ito bechozka. They rebuked him severely. I think that the word rebuked is not very exact here in the translation. Vayerivun, it can be translated as they fought against him severely. So we are looking on the beginning of a civil war, or a war between brothers. It could have developed to that, but Gideon was smarter than that, and he could calm it down. We will see that the next judge, which is Iftach, didn't behave in the same way of Gideon. We will see the differences. We will see that in the next chapters about Iftach. But here, what we also can see that each tribe, again, like keeping his own interest, and there are some kind of conflict between the tribes. There again, the base problem of lack of uniting union inside Am Israel is still revealed in that. So they are starting to fight with him. Why didn't you call us? Is it a real claim? We will see later, but I think that it wasn't a real claim. It was like they were insulted, offended, but for no good reason. Because as we saw, Hashem told Gideon, I only need 300 people. And it wasn't like everybody was coming to the help of each other, right? So the claim, why didn't you call us, look a little bit strange. But Gideon doesn't want to fight with them. So he tried to calm them down. And he said, but he answered to them, after all, what have I accomplished compared to you? Why Ephraim gleanings are better than Aviezer vintage? Do you understand this metaphor? Ephraim gleanings are better than Aviezer vintage. I will explain in a second. And then he continues saying, God has delivered the Midianite general Orev and Ze'ev into your hands. And what was I able to do compared to you? And when he spoke in this fashion, the anger against him abated. Okay, so first let's explain the metaphor and then explain what was in answer. It says it's a gleaning of fine. What is gleaning? You know?
Picking up after the harvest.
Picking up after the harvest. Exactly. Olelot in Hebrew means when you are harvesting wine, grapes, there are the leftovers, the little grapes that stay in the behind, and this, according to the Zalcha, you must leave it to the pool. So usually it's the worst grapes, the little ones, the defectuous one, it's not very good. So you leave them to the pool. And the batzir, the vintage, is the main harvest of the grapes, right? So he said, the gleaning of Ephraim, of you, is better than the vintage of me. Meaning what you did in the end, capturing the generals, the commanders of the ministers of Midian, is more important than the victories that I had in the night before. Is it true? There are two sides. First, it doesn't look like true. I mean, winning a battle against, again, tens of thousands of soldiers is much more than capturing two commanders, right? But from the other side, again, the power of re-establish an army, reorganize, and and uh, and and be able to fight again depends many times in the heads. So for one side, the masses were defeated by Gideon, but the heads were taken by Ephraim.
Same thing going on in Gaza right now.
Yeah, I think also that if they catch the heads, it's going to make a big change, right? We are not, they caught some of the heads. Some of the heads were cut, right? But the two, three that really leading all this are still hiding in the tunnels like mice. But okay, so again here, it told them something that may be true, maybe not true. It doesn't matter. It's diplomatic answer. Yo, what you did is very good. You're better than me. You're more important than me. A little bit of working on their arrogance, and they calm down. And Gideon could like calm down this internal conflict in order to be able to continue with his war, because the war didn't finish yet. So they caught everybody that was in the battle, many of those who ran away, but we can see that some of them could pass the Yarden. How can we see that? Because we said that they took the heads of Ze'ev and Orev from the other side of the Yarden. So now some of the soldiers could arrive. How many? If there was 135,000, we can assume that at least few thousands could pass the Yarden and go back to the towns. So there, they are going to reorganize and look for new soldiers and maybe come back. So Gideon doesn't want that. And he wants to continue until the end. So Gideon came to the Jordan and crossed it. The 300 men with him were famished, but still in pursuit. So he came with 300. What's happened with all the rest? We already said that thousands of Jews, of Israelis, came and joined the battle after that. But he's only with 300 people. Where are the people of Ephraim who complained? Why didn't you call us? So now you can continue. It looks like, again, after the main effort of the battle, nobody wants to continue. We took them away from the land of Israel. They crossed the Jordan. Okay, leave us alone. We don't need to continue anymore. So again, Gideon is only left with 300, the same 300 people. Now, these 300 people, again, they fought the whole night, or at least were awake the whole night. They fought the whole day after that, and we are arriving now to the second day without sleeping. It's very, very hard. They are very hungry and they are very tired. But they still with Gideon. So we understand why these 300 people were chosen. They were really special. I mean, it's true that during battles, many times soldiers do such things. They're staying awake a lot because the adrenaline and all the tension keep you awake. But in some point, you just fall down, right? But it can continue. You can continue fighting a little bit more. But he is only with 300 people, and he want to continue. So they were famished meaning very tired, right? Hungry. It says here ayefim. It's maybe hungry or thirsty or also very tired. Three of them are correct, right? They must be also tired, hungry, and thirsty. And they arrived to a place called Sukkot. You can see here in the map, it's the other side of the Yarden. So if he wants to go until here, the south, it will take time. And he goes through these cities. So these cities belongs to Jews. Maybe from the tribe of Gad, maybe from the tribe of Reuven, but they are Jews. So they asked from the people, he said to the people of Sukkot, please give some loaves of bread to the troops who are right behind me, for they are famished, and I am pursuing Zevach and Salmona, the kings of Midian. So Zeev and Dorev were the ministers of war, and Zevach and Salmona were the kings. Where the kings are? In the city, in the main city, in the capital city, and I pursuing them. So we understand that Gidon, like it said before, want a total victory, not half victory, not 80% victory, a total victory. It goes for the kings, right? So what would be the answer of Anshe Sukkot? Sure, we will help you, no? No, but the officials of Sukkot replied, are Zevach and Salmona already in your hands, that we would give bread to your army? So they didn't want to give him food. Why? He said you didn't want the war yet. So we understand that these people, Jews, weren't sure that Gideon is going to win, so they didn't want to help him. How do we call these kind of people?
Traders.
Traders, or at least cooperating with the enemy. So can we understand their point of view? It's easy to criticize that, but can we understand their point of view? I think yes. They were suffering under the hands of Midian for years. The Midian can, if Midian will win, they can kill them, they can take revenge of them. And apparently, they could arrive to some kind of agreement with Midian that will spare them. Maybe they paid a lot of taxes, maybe they gave a lot of food, but they could arrange to some kind of arrangement with Midian. So they say, we know what we have now. We don't know what is going to happen next. Why should we take risk before we know what's going to happen for sure? Again, we can understand that, but of course, it's a coward position and it's betrayed. How do you say? Trade. What?
Betrayed.
So they are like betraying the people of Israel. So that was their answer. Now, Gideon with soldiers, he can obligate them, but he doesn't have time. The most important here now is the time. He must run fast to catch the people, Zevach Salmona, before they reorganize their army. So he said, so he didn't fought with them. He didn't fight with them. He just said, I swear, declared Gideon, when God delivers Zevach and Salmona into my hands, I thresh your bodies upon desert thorns and briars. Okay, this is the punishment would be. I will make you suffer with apparently it was some kind of punishment that was usually used to torture, I don't know other word to that, with desert thorns and briars. Okay, so he threatened them, but he doesn't fight with them, he continued. And then he continued from there, he went to the Pnuel and made the same request of them. But the people of Pnuel gave him the same reply as the people of Sukkot. Another city that didn't answer the way he expected. So he said, so he also threatened the people of Pnuel, when I come back safe, I'll tear down this tower. Okay. Just last question, and we'll stop here. We continue next week with Hashem. Why is the difference? We see that for Anshe Sukkot, he said, for the people of Sukkot, he said, I will, how does it write it here? I will thresh your bodies upon desert thorns and briars. This is one. And the second one, I will destroy the tower. What's the difference? And what is worth? What do you think is worth? The first punishment or the second punishment? Yeah, the first one sounds painful, right?
Well, I think he's talking in metaphors when he says, I'm going to thrash you and put you on the briars. He said, we're going to make your life miserable.
You don't understand that literally.
Yeah, that's
we'll see that later he did that literally. Yeah, he did that. But when it said, I destroy the tower, it also said, and they killed all the people of the city. So maybe the second one was worse. Okay. Okay, but I think we leave that for now for the next time. So it's chasing the third part of the battle, the third phase of the battle. The first phase was in the night. The second, during the day, chasing all the people. And the third was the attack on the capital itself, on the base of the enemy. So we are before the third part of the battle, the final and most important part of finishing the battle. But in the middle, we have this story with the people of Pnuel and Sukkot that didn't want to cooperate until the final victory. And we will see the reaction of Gideon to them later. Okay, thank you.
Three of those people in those towns, they could have gotten around it by telling Gideon, take your sword out and put it to my neck and say, I want food from you. So
Yeah,
that if the other Midians came back, they said, they put the sword
they
to my
obligated
throat,
us. Yeah,
and I had no choice. And I mention this because during the Second World War, I had a fellow sitting next to me who was one of the Jewish partisans in the forest fighting the Nazis.
yeah,
They were, I was talking to him, I said to him at one point, what did you do to get salt? He says we would go to the farmers near the forest, we'd come in with our guns. And we said, take out the salt, holding them with the guns there, and they put the salt in the thing, and they would take out money and leave it on the table, and they would leave.
yeah.
So if the Germans came, they were told they
It was in
take us
guns.
with the guns.
Yeah. Okay, that could be a solution. Okay, shkoyach.
All right.